something coming back, and clearly, hey, they're seeing evidence. We've been hearing booms in the sky. We've been seeing UFOs. They said UFOs are real. They said UFOs come out the water. It's like the government is even preparing us for something UFO, some extraterrestrial being to come back. They even telling us now that they are real. So we don't. They're trying to pretty much not make it. They're trying to give it to us slowly, so when they come, we don't be too type shit. You know what I'm saying? So yes, Anunnaki is coming back. If you want to put it or give it to them, I think the government is the alien. No cap. I do too. I think they got an underground for just like how Men in Black, just like the Men in Black, they work with the government. It's alien extraterrestrial that work with the government. The Anunnaki, the reptilians. We already know about all these stuff, bro. That's what I'm saying. If they gonna say UFOs are real and aliens is real, that means everything we've been talking about is real. Anunnaki, people who be flying and shit, everything real, bro. Reptilians, all for years we've been seeing reptilians on the TV. Them junk real, cause y'all need to prepare, bro. No, if Anunnaki come back, you believe Jesus come back. Either way it go, everybody need to be prepared, bro.
This shit is about to blow your mind. So the Pentagon is saying that in the next couple of years, the Anunnaki will be paying us a visit. So basically, they're saying that the Anunnaki should be returning back to Earth in the next couple of years on a UFO. And they're also saying that this might happen in the Middle East. Now, you got to think about all of the UFO sightings as of recent. Apparently, these people know more than they've been telling us. Apparently, these high-up officials in the military, in the Pentagon, have known about this already, had information on this, and now they're just deciding to tell us because shit is about to hit the fan. What I always say is this: when they're alerting us about something, when they're trying to tell us something, it's either happened already or shit is really about to get out of hand. Or they're telling us that so we can look this way instead of looking this way. And for whatever reason, they're telling us this, something is going to happen. People are also saying that the Anunnaki are not coming back. People are saying that those things that we think that are in UFOs are demons. And honestly and truly, that could be the truth. You have the Pope passing away this year. They elect another Pope. You got so many different things going on this year, from plane crashes to UFO sightings, etc., etc., etc. All I can say is this: something is happening. Whether it be the Anunnaki or whether it be, you know what? That's another time for another video. I'm out.
Wow. Yeah, man. So yes, bro, the Pentagon said it themselves, bro. The Pentagon and a lot of the CIA, they have been releasing documents talking about a lot of extraterrestrial beings. And I read a couple saying that people on Earth, we connected to those divine beings, those divine Anunnaki beings, and we could have been the ones that helped to build the pyramids. Because if y'all don't know, the pyramids are in line with the Sirius star system, either or the Orion's belt type shit. That's what I'm saying. So shit, it's like, if y'all go look at Egypt had to have been created or helped be created by extraterrestrial being. And I heard that those big giant sculptures in Egypt were those Anunnaki beings who was there at one point of time. You know, and then I saw, doing my own research, there were landing pads in Egypt for like UFOs. So this ain't nothing new. Like, if anything, we went down in technology. Because if y'all have never heard of the Tartaria Empire, y'all need to start getting into that. What was here before the technology we got now? Like phones, this is nothing compared to what we used to have. You see what I'm saying? And I think I'm gonna do a video about the Tartaria Empire anyway. But yeah, man. Crazy.
The Anunnaki are the extraterrestrial civilization generally responsible for the alteration of your genetic structure, which fundamentally was to aid and assist them in mining minerals, gold in particular, that would allow them to alter the weather patterns of their own planet and make adjustments in that way to their energy fields. Now, the group of Anunnaki that actually visited your world, that was originally consigned to find those minerals and bring them back to the home world, were actually, to begin with, assigned to simply do this task themselves. Eventually, they found that this was something that was relatively difficult for them to do on their own. And so they believed they needed what you would call a workforce in order to aid and assist them. And knowing that there was a natural indigenous being upon the planet that was similar in form to them, they understood that they could genetically alter it to aid and assist them in this way by upgrading it, so to speak, to something more similar to their own form. And thus, by thus creating that force, allow that force to work in the mines to extract the gold and other minerals that they require, eventually also developing a long-term relationship with them in a variety of ways, even to the point of companionship many, many years after that. Now, this began somewhere around 500,000 of your years ago in the general areas that you call the Middle East and the African continent. And those branches of the hominid species that were not altered genetically by the Anunnaki evolved on their own in parallel to the human beings on your planet that the Anunnaki had created. And those that were not altered eventually evolved into the form you now call Sasquatch. So the idea is that if you had not been altered at all, today you would all be Sasquatch. But because you were altered, because you were evolved in that way, you became human beings.
Wow. Yeah, I heard that too. So the Anunnaki did come down. They would search for, minerals for their planet. Their planet was getting messed up. And, they seen us on the planet. And then, what he said, alter our DNA and cause us to have arm, leg, the Allah shit, arm, leg, arm, head type shit. You see what I'm saying? So if you look at a lot of ancient civilizations and a lot of things that was left behind and all these mountains and petrified giants, that's these big Anunnaki creatures that came here. And there were benevolent and malevolent ones. If you don't know, but benevolent means good, malevolent means bad. So there were a bunch of good and bad ones, and that's probably why, quote unquote, a war broke out on this earth type shit. I heard it's still Anunnaki here to this day underground, working with the elites. You see what I'm saying? Working with the Pope that just passed away. But this is why they probably coming back to fix stuff and put stuff back in order type shit. Or maybe they coming back to get more gold type shit. Who knows?
The Anunnaki have returned. Basically, it's like our parents came home and was like, what the fuck is y'all doing in my house? So now you got the Greys and the reptilians trying to scramble. And if you notice, Caucasians is just so fascinated with trying to run to Mars. And they so far fascinated with trying to go on the ground. And they just so fascinated with trying to leave the earth. That's because our ancestors have returned and it's that time for their ass. Now, if you have a hard time fathoming what I'm saying and fathoming looking up, what I'm saying, go look it up. The national security's number one threat is an alien invasion. So out of all the things national security is scared of, alien invasion is number one, but yet they try to tell you aliens are not real. Or, as well, you can look this up. There are nuclear weapons around the world are being disabled by UFOs. What kind of UFO would try to disable a nuclear weapon if they didn't care about the humanity? Their children. We are the children of God. The Anunnaki are melanated beings. So now, these are all facts. You can go look up right now. UFOs are disabling nuclear warheads around the planet Earth. And half the earthquakes that go under the ground are not really earthquakes. They are UFOs, which you would call, or Anunnakis, destroying underground bases under the ground. And it's causing UFOs due to the shockwaves being sent from the type of weaponry. Now, that is a long, short version I can give you on Anunnaki. So just running down a full story. Anunnakis came, helped Homo erectus become Homo sapien, left about the last cycle or 2 cycles they left. The last cycle that they left, other extraterrestrials basically seen that the planet Earth was being unprotected, and the children of the Anunnaki were left because their parents was gone, came in, manipulated us. The Anunnaki have returned, said, what the hell are y'all doing to our children? It's a problem. And now we are in that time right now. And we are in a time right now where you need to understand who you are, where you come from. If you don't, and you believe in these false religions that have been set up to sacrifice your soul to the reptilians or the gray extraterrestrials who have been manipulating you behind this, people like the Pope, who they say is a devil, and there's not just making it up, and they have been ciphering your soul to these extraterrestrials. This is the time for you to wake up and save yourself. If not, you will share the fate as the person who you are worshiping. Now, with that being said, let me just throw y'all some extra juice in here. A UFO, so you break it down, cannot be flown. This is to prove that Anunnaki are melanated being, or that to be an extraterrestrial, you have to possess some type of melanin. Because melanin gives you psychic ability. You can look it up right now. It is a law in China and Japan that you cannot be a ninja or a samurai unless you have African blood. Why? Because Africans contain melanin, and you can't be a ninja or a samurai unless you have melanin, because melanin has psychic abilities. It gives you psychic abilities. Now, with that being said, a UFO is flown through telepathy. You control the ship with your mind. Okay. Now, unless you have a certain amount of melanin, you cannot perform a certain level of psychic abilities. Yes, you do have Caucasians performing psychic abilities, but they cannot perform them with the power or at the rate of an African person. This is why they keep you away from your knowledge of self. So now, with that being said, in order to fly a UFO, you would have to have a certain amount of melanin in you, because your level of telepathy would have to be strong enough to control a ship.
Damn.
Now, outside of that, jets and airplanes like on Earth fly through being propelled or propulsion. Being the jet pushes the ship. It is being pushed. So the engines on the back push the ship. So they push. A UFO pulls. It has iron in the middle. And the iron, we know that just like the Earth's core has iron in it, and it conducts electricity, and it helps with gravity to attract it to the sun. A UFO is made with iron in the middle, and it has a gravitator in the middle, and what it does is it locks on to the magnetic frequency of a planet. Because remember, I told you the longitude and ley lines are nothing more than like how you in your car, you can call OnStar and know where you at, and they got navigation. For a UFO, the latitude and longitude lines of the Earth is like OnStar, it knows where it's at. So what a UFO does is, in order for it to travel across the universe, it locks onto the longitude and latitude lines of whatever planet it wants, aka the magnetic frequency of that planet. And once the UFO processes the location of this planet, it pulls itself.
Wow.
And this is why UFO is able to go any direction, because it's not pushing, it's pulling itself.
Wow.
So what it does is it says a jet goes, it pushes. A UFO can stop and say, I want to go up. It locks onto the frequency. It locks onto the location or the magnetic location of wherever it's at, specifically up, and it pulls itself there. So this is how it's able to travel like this, because it pulls itself. It uses gravity to move which way it wants to go versus pushing. An airplane is pushing, so it can't just immediately go back. A UFO is pulling, so if it decides it wants to go this way, it pulls itself this way, or it pulls itself this way. So with that being said, that's a small amount of information on extraterrestrials that I'm willing to give it this time, because I don't want to overload y'all. And that's some juicy information about.
Shout out to OG Young Pharaoh, bro. Man, god damn, miss these videos, bro. I miss these videos, bro. It deleted this man YouTube, all that knowledge gone, man. How they could just do something like that, bro? But yeah, bro, definitely go to this page that y'all seen, bro. OG Young Pharaoh, bro. You gotta give it to him, bro. Man, gave a lot of knowledge, bro, while he was on. You know what I'm saying? Golly.
So the Anunnaki is gonna have to physically show themselves to y'all for y'all to finally understand this shit over with. Yeah, it's over, y'all.
Peace, love, and light, chosen. There's a war going on. No, I ain't talking about Iran. But there's a war going on right above us. The Pentagon has released information saying that the Anunnaki has returned. Who is the Anunnaki, you ask? Put it in the search bar. Go down the rabbit hole if you don't know. But if you do know who the Anunnaki is, then you know what they're here for. They're looking for the chosen one. Are you that chosen one? Am I the chosen one? I don't know. Nobody will know until they find who they're looking for. But the Anunnaki returning to Earth is a big deal. Stay in tune. Stay connected to Source. Meditate. Gaze at the sun. Because something big's about to happen, chosen. Something real big. Something that you didn't know you was going to see during this lifetime. Peace, love, and light.
Peace, 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 fam.
Approximately four.
Even in the Bible, it says they call them
This shit is
even.
Approximately 450,000 years ago, the Anunnaki, in search of gold to shield their planet Nibiru's atmosphere, arrive on Earth. Their first settlement is established in the Persian Gulf region. Initial phase. They begin their operations by mining gold in the southeastern Africa region. Due to labor difficulties, they genetically engineer Homo sapiens by combining their DNA with that of existing hominids. Approximately 450,000
Wow, it was just that little
years
quick
ago.
flip. What would the whole thing at?
Black babies.
Even in the Bible, it says they call them the Anak, the A-N-A-K, and they're calling these people megalithic giants. They say that these people are so big that we were grasshoppers in their eyesight. That's in the Bible. In ancient Egypt, they call them Ninitiru. They say that the gods who came from heaven to earth, same exact terminology, and turned mud into a kingdom. Now,
Wow.
when you look deeper into where these people came from, you start to go through a lot of various different texts, and you begin to realize it's not just one group of people that came from one planet. It appears to be a group of people that came from multiple planets, even multiple solar systems. According to the ancient text, not according to Billy Carson. You dig deeper into this, you start looking at the Enuma Elish and the seven tablets of creation from the Sumerian tales, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Epic of Atrahasis, the myth of Adapa, some of the other texts like the Indian texts like the Mahabharata, the Indian Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, and some of these other texts, you begin to realize, whoa, the stories are also linking up. And the thing between all these different stories all point to the same thing. Beings from somewhere else came to this planet and began to build a kingdom or a breakaway civilization on Earth. Even in the Bible,
Wow. Wow. So this is definitely real. Like we have a lot of stuff that they left behind to understand that there were an ancient civilization here. And if you don't believe or you don't believe at this point, you might be living under a rock. You might just be living under a rock. And if you are, you need to get from under that rock, fam. I think it's about time, bro.
It's reclaiming the planet. And as we reclaim the planet, we have to reclaim our dignity, our moral code, our virtue that gives us access to a higher dimension, right in the same frequency range, but a higher dimension within the same frequency. That's what the 5D is. If they got 5D, the fifth generation of electronic enslavement.
Right. They're trying to mirror what we got, but
Exactly.
level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now, the gods have to start to resemble the gods. Brothers like us, knowledgeable as you, after a while your image have to start to resemble that of mighty powerful men. Because our image is what activates access to our superpowers. We can fly, we can disappear, we can shape-shift.
Wow.
We have control over all weather phenomena. When we're in our virtuous and moral state, but we reach a point of moral decay in the general population. Our women who are the main power source. Right now, 3/4 of all of our women, the sun has not touched their scalp in 5 years.
Yeah.
So the cosmic core, the galactic spiral, their natural hair cannot be seen, so it has no dance in the sun. So therefore, they can't access their powers. Because there's no self-love. If there be no self-love, there's no moral code, there's no virtue. We look and act like incompatible, and we're the gods in this game. So, brothers like you, the more you start to assume your original dress, your original frequency, your original cause clothes are frequency. When you see me wearing the noose, segue. It's reclaiming.
Boy, he said the black woman sun has not touched the black woman's scalp in forever. You see what I'm saying? Because of the wigs that a lot of black women wear, to activate your DNA, to activate your brain, to activate your pineal gland that's inside of your head. You see what I'm saying? The sun activates that. It decalcifies it. So, and then we don't even go outside, bro. We don't ground none of that.
Researchers are now suggesting aliens could actually be living among us disguised as humans. Not kidding. Montana Technical University professor Dr. Michael P. Masters was part of that study, and he joins us right now. Michael, good morning to you.
Morning. Thanks for having me on.
It's good to have you. Professor, wasn't that the ending of, I think it was Men in Black, the movie, where at the end they had the screen full of people who were, or rather aliens, living amongst us?
It's been a while since I've seen that one, but it's certainly a possibility. The subject does make its way into a lot of pop culture, so it's certainly possible.
So, Doctor, I mean, what is the chances of this? I mean, it seems like every year we have some type of story that it could be true.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is we're very cautious and conservative in writing this paper, and mostly what we're trying to do here is look at the oddities and the weirdness of the UFO phenomenon, which we can acknowledge is real. And as much as this might be difficult to swallow for some of my academic colleagues and for a large percentage of the population, it's important to start moving the conversation past are UFOs real and past the cockpit videos and the testimonies in front of Congress and the whistleblowers and a Schumer amendment and so many things that indicate that this should be taken seriously, and move the needle a little farther into the realm of, well, what are they? Who are they? What could they be doing? Why are they here? Right. And that's a big part of why we wrote this paper.
And I know in the paper you talk a little bit about, you know, why do we always see these things around lakes and things like that, or volcanoes? And so the suggestion is, and you know, it's just conjecture, but maybe they came here a long time ago and they've been hiding out there for a while?
Yeah, that's a great question. And sort of the reason I was involved in this study is I've written 3 books over the last 5 years looking at whether they could potentially be future humans coming back through time. And one aspect of this crypto-terrestrial model that we discussed is exactly that they could potentially be extraterrestrial coming from a different planet, and they just set up shop here as it's easier than traveling across the cosmos. Same thing with this extratempestrial model, that if they were coming from our future, rather than jumping back and forth through time, if they set up shop underground, under the seas, as you're alluding to, possibly on the far side of the moon, it would save a lot of time and energy, and they could conduct whatever it is these activities are that are so important to them here with us at this time, in this place, and without all of the need for constant travel.
I guess, Doctor, the big question would be, is there like a baseline where, when it comes to vitals, where you say this person has to be a human? And if something is different, it's like, this is a little weird. Like, how would you test?
Yeah, that's a great point. And you're right. One of the things that we looked at is, could they be walking amongst us? And I know that, again, conjures up these outlandish notions of some people being aliens, and you're eating breakfast and there's an alien across the cafe. But what we're saying, I know, and we definitely are the first to acknowledge that a lot of this can seem a little crazy. But again, if you think about them in the context of future humans, and that's just one potential possibility here, we would share a lot of physiological characteristics with them, have the opportunity to interbreed. We could hybridize across time, potentially across space. So, and there are, it's important to point out too, the Institute of Noetic Sciences, the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation, all of these studies have shown there are people with extraordinary abilities, like psi abilities, remote viewing, and things like that.
Very interesting stuff.
Stunning report.
Thank you, sir. Researchers are now suggesting aliens.
They talking about this averagely on the news now, bro. They put it in your face at this point, man. They put it in your face, bro. They put it in your face, bro. Y'all boy definitely need to get tapped in with the Anunnaki and extraterrestrial beings, because clearly they are real, bro. They real. So, you know, and it's just get prepared, because something coming back. Whether you think it's Jesus, the Anunnaki, like I said, something coming back, bro. Something coming back, bro. So, love y'all, boy. Appreciate y'all, boy, man. Leave a comment, leave a like. And, you know, follow me on Twitch if you want to see these lives, and so your name can pop up on the screen. Free promo, man. Why not? Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on all my platforms in the description. Email me if anything. Love y'all, boy, man. Peace.